High-level U.S. The war had a tense start Sunday in Switzerland as Tehran took offense at comments by President Donald Trump, who threatened to attack and told Iran's president to watch what he says. Trump made the remarks during high-stakes diplomacy aimed at resolving tensions over Iran's nuclear program and regional activities. Iranian officials responded with sharp criticism of the U.S., warning that their country is prepared for a strong response if necessary. The talks, which began Sunday in Switzerland amid heightened tension, focus on key issues including whether to resume or maintain sanctions against Iran, how to manage its nuclear ambitions, and what steps will be taken over disputed activities near the Strait of Hormuz. Officials from both sides stressed that any further action would depend heavily on future statements made by Iranian leaders during upcoming negotiations. As discussions continue in Switzerland, experts are closely watching for potential shifts in policy or military posturing as a result of these recent comments. The next diplomatic step is what leaders put on the summit record after the meetings. A memorandum of understanding signed by President Donald Trump and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian lays out the political, military, and economic consequences of an attack launched against Iran. The deal outlines how such a conflict could reshape regional alliances, impact energy markets, and affect diplomatic relations between the two nations. The agreement was reached on February 28 following months of negotiations aimed at de-escalating tensions in the Middle East. It includes provisions for reducing military presence along shared borders, renegotiating trade agreements that were disrupted by sanctions imposed after the attack, and establishing new protocols for energy cooperation to stabilize global oil prices. Officials from both countries have emphasized that any future actions will depend on how these terms are implemented and whether they lead to lasting peace in a region still recovering from recent violence. The next steps involve formal ratification processes within each government's legislative bodies before the deal can take effect. The significance of this development remains unclear as it awaits official approval, but experts suggest that if approved, it could signal a shift towards more cooperative policies between Iran and its regional allies. As negotiations continue, analysts are closely monitoring how both sides respond to potential changes in trade agreements or military strategies resulting from the deal. The relationship between UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and President Donald Trump has deteriorated recently, primarily due to disagreements over the ongoing conflict in Iran. This shift comes as discontent grows among Labour lawmakers who are increasingly critical of Starmer's leadership. Recent polling shows that a significant number of Labour MPs view the Prime Minister's handling of his relationship with Trump unfavorably, reflecting broader dissatisfaction within the party. These figures underscore how strained ties have become and highlight concerns over political strategy moving forward. Officials from both sides remain tight-lipped about any formal fallout, but acknowledge growing tensions in diplomatic circles. The next steps for resolving these differences are unclear at this stage, pending further developments or official statements. The next milestone is the transition into the role and how the new appointment shapes the office's public work. Starmer's leadership has said that he will run in a contest if there is one. The National Park Service is spending $74 million to move a dock at Lake Powell because the reservoir's water level has dropped due to drought conditions. This ongoing shrinkage of Lake Powell means that docks and infrastructure must be relocated as the reservoir diminishes, highlighting the broader impact on park operations. Officials from the NPS have outlined a significant expenditure aimed at adapting facilities to accommodate the reduced water levels in Lake Powell. The move underscores how climate-driven changes are reshaping park management strategies. The National Park Service continues to manage these infrastructure adjustments amid ongoing drought conditions affecting Lake Powell's water level, which necessitates further relocation efforts for park assets and services. E&D. The remaining question is what confirmed response, timeline, or impact changes the story next. The U.S. National Weather Service issued an extreme heat watch at the Grand Canyon for midday Monday through Tuesday, forecasting temperatures that could reach or exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius at the low-elevation Phantom Ranch. NPS said they appear to have succumbed to symptoms of heat-related illness. about 90 miles, 145 kilometers south. Oak Creek Canyon visitors and residents were evacuated late Friday as a wildfire burned hundreds of acres just north of Sedona, Arizona. Much of the western U.S. from the Rockies to the Pacific coast were getting above average temperatures Saturday and anticipating even hotter weather early next week. Officials also warned the prolonged dry, hot weather and relatively low humidity increased the risk of fire danger throughout the area. Drought warned that the region is approaching the hottest period of the year before the rain during monsoon season later in the summer offers some relief from the heat. A third person, 72, died June 12 along the South Kaibab Trail after becoming ill from the heat, NPS said. Dominican authorities on Saturday were working to ensure that foreign tourists caught up in a massive fire at a luxury resort the day before could return home. General Manuel Mendes, director of the country's Emergency Operations Center, said officials are investigating the cause of an Italian woman's death among those affected. Tourists impacted by the blaze have been relocated to hotels in Punta Cana and Bahia for their safety. The Dominican government is coordinating with international airlines to facilitate travel arrangements back home for all tourists involved. Officials emphasized that while investigations into the fire are ongoing, immediate steps are being taken to clear the area of any remaining guests and ensure safe passage for those wishing to leave. Authorities have not yet determined a timeline for when full access will be restored to the resort or how many tourists remain stranded. The incident has raised questions about safety protocols at tourist destinations in the Dominican Republic following similar fires elsewhere on the island. Investigations are underway, but no official statements from local tourism boards have been released as of this reporting. END